Oh, singing in the rain. I thought it was grilling in the rain. That makes more sense. Hey, I'm James from Smokin' Dad Barbecue, coming to you live from some rainy weather. And the rain can throw a couple of curveballs at us. So why would you cook in the rain? Well, two reasons today. One, we got to eat dinner, and that's what we plan to do. And number two, I thought it'd be a great way to showcase some accessories as well as some tips and tricks that can help you still enjoy your barbecue, even if Mother Nature has other ideas in mind. So let's get started. Hey, I'm James from Smokin' Dad Barbecue. So why are we grilling in the rain today? Well, two main reasons. One, that's the dinner we planned, so gotta cook it no matter what. And the second one is there's actually a great opportunity to share some tips and tricks as well as some accessories that help make grilling in the rain a little bit easier. So today we're gonna be cooking a keto-friendly meal. We're gonna do some chicken thighs that we brined in some pickle juice, along with some prosciutto wrapped brie, all on our Kamado Joe Jr. using our two-tier grid system from Smokeware, who also makes our vent cap that I've got loaded up on the Junior, which is gonna keep us dry and just worry about cooking instead of getting some water on our food. So I'm not gonna let the water get me down. Hopefully it doesn't get you down. Let's go ahead and get started on today's cook. Okay, so I've already got our Kamado Joe Jr. loaded up with some Jealous Devil charcoal, just to keep the camera out of the rain as minimal time as possible. Let's go ahead and start our fire here. So we're gonna be cooking direct today. So I'll show you how we're gonna install the grids in a couple minutes once we get some temperature. Let me just go ahead and crank this up so we're not out here too long. All right, that should do it. So we've got some coals going, so let's just go ahead, close our dome, start to build some heat. And I'll zoom out the camera so I can show you our cap. All right, so now that we're zoomed out, let me show you here the Smokeware vent cap. And so if you've been following my channel for a while, you already know I think Kamado Joe makes one of the best vent caps in the business. So the control tower top, available on the Classic Joe and the Big Joe, not only provides the weather protection, really easy to navigate adjustments as you remember where you are, and a whole, kind of easy operation from wide open to low and slow. So the Kamado Joe Jr. on the other hand comes with what I started with, which is a daisy wheel style vent cap, which is great. They're a lot of fun and easy to use, but one of the limitations is they have holes on the top. So when it's raining like this, rain is coming straight down and going into your grill. So one of the reasons that I love the Smokeware vent cap is not only like our Big Joe and Classic Joe, when we open and close the dome, does our vent stay exactly where we left it, we also get the all-weather protection that the Big Joe and the Classic Joe to my other side have. So let's get this grill up to temperature. We're gonna be aiming for about 425, 450 degrees for today's cook. Okay, so now that we got our fire started, let me take you back in time a couple hours ago where we started our pickle brine as well as preparing our prosciutto wrapped brie. I'll also jump inside now so we can take the camera with us, and it's time to remove those chicken thighs now that they've been in the brine for a couple hours and pat them dry so that we help get some great skin as well as add our final flavor seasoning. I'll put a link, details down below in the description for the rub that I'm using. I make it myself. It's a keto-free friendly rub, and I think it's going to provide some great flavor to go with our prosciutto wrapped brie. By the time we're done all that, getting our chicken thighs ready, our Joe Jr. will be up to temperature and we'll be ready to get this cook started. All right, so to get started, we've got some leftover pickle juice from a jar of pickles and some chicken thighs. So we're just gonna go ahead and add some of these into our briner bucket. I'll move the camera a little bit closer so you can see why the briner bucket makes a great choice for this, as we're able to submerge our chicken, make sure everything stays under our pickle brine. Let's go ahead and just toss a few of these in here for dinner. Okay, so just since we're only going to be doing this for an hour or so, I'm just going to drop in a little bit more Diamond Kosher crystal salt along with our leftover pickle juice. And then using this plate on the briner bucket, we'll be able to make sure that all the chicken is underneath our brine. Like right now you see one or two are just sitting above. So we'll squish them down into place with our locking plate. Just turn like that, and now everything is locked into position. So we're gonna let this brine in the refrigerator for about 1 to 2 hours. Okay, so while our chicken thighs are brining, let's go ahead and get our prosciutto wrapped brie ready. Since it's just gonna be my wife and I enjoying tonight, we won't use an entire wheel, so adjust based on the size of your audience. So I'm gonna split this in half, since we've already done that. And this will be our portion that we will wrap in prosciutto and set aside in our cast iron pan. So I'll take you fast forward while I do this, but essentially we're just gonna lay out some pieces of prosciutto, drop on our brie, wrap it as tightly as we can so that some of that melting brie doesn't fall out the sides. And then this is ready to go on the Joe a little bit later on. Okay, so that's good. We'll be ready to go when it's dinner time. Okay, so I got our chicken thighs out. Let's go ahead, pull those out of the briner bucket and start to pat them dry in some paper towel. So as best we can, we want to get these dry so that the skin helps crisp up. Okay, so for my house rub, I'll put the base rub down below along with some recommended optional extras, which you can add either to your main rub, or you can just take a portion and then add those in specific to the cook that you're doing each time. So what I've got in mine right now is garlic powder, some onion powder, paprika, which has been smoked, as well as black pepper and a little bit of celery seeds. So that's my sort of go-to mixture for everything, the exact amount in the description down below. Let's get this on both sides. Okay, these look good. And just as I was adding that, I remembered I forgot to mention there's also just a little bit of cayenne, which is one of my recommended extras. It just adds a little bit of pop. So absolutely no sugar in this ingredient mix. So absolutely everything so far staying keto free, no carbs. Let's go ahead and get these outside on the grill. Okay, so our junior's just crept up over 500 degrees. That's okay, we'll go ahead and adjust our vents down to about a pinky width on the bottom. Let me grab our grids. So I'm going to be using the Smokeware Grate Stacker because that'll allow me later on to slide our large cast iron with our prosciutto wrap brie in there. And so it'll be a tight fit, but we're going to go ahead and try and get all of our chicken thighs on this upper level. Let's go ahead, I'll just grab those, swing this open for now. Scratch that, closed. Let's go ahead and add our chicken thighs. All right, that's good. Let's close our lid. Rejoin you in about 15-20 minutes. Check on them. So while we're waiting for our chicken thighs to come up to temperature, let me just run through a couple of those tips and tricks I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video that can help keep rain not being a deterrent from you being outside enjoying your barbecue. So starting with the obvious, let's just start with you because a big part of comfort is how you feel. Good clothing, whether it's a hoodie or an umbrella, anything that can just keep you dry, and shoes that don't slip on a deck like we have cedar and it gets slippery without shoes. So first, worry about yourself. That's a big part of feeling comfortable grilling in any weather. Once you've got yourself sorted, some of the things that you can do for your cook to make it go a little bit easier is just prepping more inside. And so we've already got our side dish here, our prosciutto wrapped brie. We did that earlier ahead of time and got it set under our pergola where it is dry. So as much as you can do from a prep perspective will just make your time outdoors that much more enjoyable. I will put a link down below to the previous table that I built. I highly recommend building in a more permanent rain fixture versus something like I'm using here, an umbrella. Cooking one-handed is not the easiest. In fact, I'm looking for next year to actually expand this little roof area. So let me know if that's something you guys want to track along with in terms of the design, thought process, and some things that I've learned over the years that would make a really nice outdoor kitchen space, so that we're not doing these things holding an umbrella. But in the short term, an umbrella makes a great fix if you don't have a raincoat or anything like that. So now that you've got you comfortable, you've got your food prepped ahead of time, and you've got your shelter, whether it's temporary or permanent, sorted, let's take a minute just to talk about the controlling the Kamado Joe itself. So if you're following along and you're using a Joe Jr. or an older Joe Series 1, which has a daisy wheel, in the rain, you want to do the opposite of what I'm always recommending. And so I like to think of the bottom vent like a gas pedal for your airflow and temperature control, and the top vent like a brake. And so I get the most accurate results with just a little bit of air showing on the bottom and a lot more air up top, as that has great draw and convection. If we need to slow it down, we could just close that top vent a little bit more up top. If you're cooking with a daisy wheel though, what that will do is allow large amounts of water to come in and get your food or your charcoal wet, which we don't want. So you're gonna wanna switch the order here, where you go almost wide open on the bottom vent and then just barely a crack open on the top in order to achieve the same temperatures. And so this absolutely does work. And what it does is it allows you to also keep your food dry and your charcoal dry, in terms of not getting any of these outside elements all over it. So anyways, those are a few quick tips. Hopefully they're helpful. And again, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more as we're thinking about our outdoor cooking space heading into the new year. I'll rejoin you in a couple minutes when we're a little bit closer to these chicken thighs being ready. All right, so while I was talking away, we had some grease flaring up. So we did get a little bit of dark on one or two of these sides, but everything is okay. So I'm gonna take the opportunity now though to go ahead and add our Lodge cast iron pan. And this is gonna do a couple things. It's going to protect those direct flames from coming up and doing any more burning to our chicken thighs. It's also going to start warming up that prosciutto and getting a sear on it and softening our brie on the inside. So I'm going to check this in about another 2-3 minutes. All right, I think we are done on our chicken. Let's go ahead and get those off and flip our prosciutto. Nice crispy skin. Let's flip our prosciutto. As you can see, it's melting, so that only needs another minute or so. All right, let's dig in for our taste test. I've taken shelter under what 2 or 3 feet we have above me, so half dry, half wet, but it's not going to stop us from digging in. So I've got some just regular keto crackers from our local grocery store to go with our prosciutto and brie. Let's try that first. I love this normally. That little bit of smoke from our charcoal as well as our chicken just rendering out, hitting that pan, even more flavor, a really good flavor. I'm gonna go back in really quickly and get some more as soon as we're done this. Let's dig in and try our chicken. Just great looking skin on this. Let's get a bite. Wow, barbecue chicken direct is something. So let me try and explain kind of the flavors. So the first thing I got, just a crispy texture on the outside. Maybe I think because I took a more well done piece as well. But that was really pleasant. Then as soon as we got inside, and it got a flavor explosion from our chicken, and that's where that pickle brine and salt came through. It's not overly pickled, doesn't taste like you're biting into a pickle. Just get a little bit of that vinegary pop that you get with pickles, and that was really pleasant. And then on the back of the mouth, what came rushing in is our seasoning. So that garlic, paprika, pepper, and definitely that cayenne that I mentioned earlier came together perfectly. So this is one of our favorite meals, whether we're tracking with our keto goals or we're just cooking normally. We cook this meal identically because we love it so much. But if you're joining me for specifically keto cooking, I'll put a playlist down below for some other recipes that have just been really helpful that I've used over the last year, where I lost 50 pounds cooking on barbecue, enjoying my barbecue, and I didn't want to let a diet or health goals get in the way of enjoying our outdoors and our barbecue. And so all of these little cooks that are keto friendly, I've put together in a single playlist down below. Anyways, enough of that. It's time to wrap up. So I want to thank you for hanging out today. If you liked the video, please let YouTube know by smashing that like button, or let me know by hitting subscribe and turn on the notification bells to catch future videos. Until next time, I'm James from Smokin' Dad Barbecue signing off. And remember, don't be afraid to fire it up.